Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Spooky Cantina. I'm your host, SpookyJawa, and today I'm with Andrew. Welcome to the Cantina, Andrew. How you
Thanks
doing?
for having me. Excited to be here finally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For everyone new to the channel or coming back, a few announcements. We are on Spotify now, and we are
Nice.
also on TikTok, Instagram, so you can check us out on my link tree. And then another announcement: we might be making merch. So if you'd like to buy a
Nice.
hat, we're gonna be making that soon. Pretty cheap for what it is. Anyways, today we have a very exciting day. We're going to be talking about live action and animated characters. So, the first question for you is which animated characters would you like to see in live action? And for the future of Star Wars, what would you like to see?
hmm Yeah. So just off the top of my head, when I was thinking about animated characters, I think the most obvious one is Asajj.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. I've seen a lot of people say that. And I think that'd be cool. You just have to find. I don't know who the voice actor looks like, so I don't know if it's something where she could play her
Right.
or not. But um, that would be one. I don't know if video games count, but Cal Kestis
Oh, 100%.
um,
Yeah.
would be cool. And I've heard rumblings before of them working on potentially bringing him into some kind of, I don't know when in the timeline the Jedi Survivor games are, but um, I don't know if that's around Mando time or not.
I think it's around
Uh,
that time, right?
okay.
Yeah, because he fights Darth Vader, and then
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, so it's not a bad idea. And they've done that before with Bo-Katan and the voice actor
mhm.
of her. They brought her into
Yeah.
the Mandalorian verse or the Mando
Yeah.
verse
Yeah.
and season 3, season 2.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Trying to well, Kanan, obviously. I know that there was that picture of him and Ahsoka, but if they could do some kind of force ghost projection of him, or even a flashback of during Rebels, and get, I know Prince Jr.'s done with him, but even if they got someone that looked similar to the animated version, maybe a flashback, you could do that. That'd be
Right.
cool. Yeah.
Something I'd like to see is more clones. I know we
Ooh,
had
yeah.
Rex, and Nick Sant from Return of the Jedi, the guy with the big beard who got turned into
Oh,
Rex.
yeah. Oh, I've heard of that. That's
So
Rex.
maybe
Yeah.
something between that to make him look like
hmm
that, or change that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe even Hunter. A lot of the people from the Bad Batch. I
hmm
love that show, by the way.
Yeah.
Seeing
Bad
Hunter
Batch.
crosshair record, that'd be insane. And you can
hmm
get Tamara Morrison back. Um, what did
Omega. Yeah, her.
Omega? Yeah,
Yeah, Omega.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he was talking about a book of Boba Fett season 2, but we could bring him back for another show.
hmm
Some like live action. Maybe in the Mandalorian movie, it'd be cool to get like some of the Bad Batch. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that was one I was thinking of too. Just they're such a great group. There's such an entertaining group.
One hundred
Uh,
percent.
be cool to get them back. Yeah.
And you could definitely change the actor too. I mean, the first
hmm
person that comes to mind when I think of Wrecker is The Rock. I mean, obviously that's probably not the best casting,
Yeah.
but that's the first person that comes to mind. You could like change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of open space for bringing
hmm
animated to live action for sure.
Yeah. And I think, unless it's someone where it's like Ahsoka, if it's like a clone, they don't necessarily have to look identical to him to play
Oh
the
yeah, no.
character. I mean, it's fine if it's first if they did Asajj, they would just have to get the voice down. I feel like, because I feel like that's part of her, is that kind of raspy sounding voice.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
And
yeah,
I think that Ahsoka, who's the actor, Rosario Dawson, I think her name
yeah.
is. She
hmm
did an almost amazing job of doing
I
Ashley Eckstein's voice.
I was gonna say I like her as Ahsoka. I know there are people that don't, but
A
I
lot
like
of people have
Ashley.
problems with it, but I had
Yeah,
no problem with it at all.
yeah. I was gonna say I feel like she did it well. So
And even Ariana Greenblatt in the flashbacks in Ahsoka
oh
season
yeah.
1, she did an amazing job. It sounded
hmm
very similar to Ashley's voice, so I'm really happy about that.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the second part I'd like to talk about is, did you like that how they brought the Rebels crew into live
hmm
action? So we got Ezra, Ahsoka
hmm
season 1, Sabine, Zeb in the Mandalorian.
hmm
You also got Chopper, I guess. But did you like how
Yeah.
they did that and the actors for them? Oh, also Harrison Dula.
Yeah, because right as when Ahsoka was announced that it was going to be kind of like Rebels season 5, I was watching through the animated shows for the first time, so I went and I binged all of Rebels right before Ahsoka came out, and so it really did feel like one continuous thing. And I never got taken out by like this isn't the same character. There
Right.
was never that. So I think they got it down about as good as you could.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you. I literally just watched Rebels 2 years ago because I always thought it
Nice.
was a little bit childish. And then I watched it
Mhm.
for the first time and it was really good. I was really
Mhm.
surprised by it. So that led straight into
Mhm.
Ahsoka season 1. So
Mhm.
that was, yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. And
Yeah.
did you like Thrawn in that or?
See, that's where it gets interesting because Thrawn is one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars, and
Mhm.
I loved him in Rebels. I thought, well, one, it's cool that they got the same voice actor to then play him in live action. But as far as Thrawn the character goes, I thought he was a little safe in the show
Right.
because he was kind of he was. It seemed like he was a lot more hesitant to do things versus Rebels. He as soon as opportunity presents itself, he attacks and.
Mhm.
Um, So yeah, I think he was good. I just didn't feel like Rebels Thrawn per se, but still felt like Thrawn. If that makes
Right.
sense. Yeah.
Actually, adding on to your point, I think a big problem when you go from animation to live action is that the characters are a
Mm.
lot more slower. So, like in Ahsoka,
True.
like in the Clone Wars, she's
Hmm.
very agile, very fast.
Hmm.
She's doing spins, jumping around. I didn't really see that a lot in the Mandalorian, and I didn't see
Hmm.
that a lot in Ahsoka season 1. Even with Thrawn, Thrawn's supposed to be strong, and
Hmm.
in Ahsoka season 1, he did not look strong at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also with, Obi-Wan and Anakin when they're spinning their lightsabers and the Clone Wars are doing all these spins, jumps.
Yeah.
It kind of goes over to Revenge of the Sith and stuff, but it's not the same. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. With animation, it's a lot easier to do that kind of stuff. But yeah.
So the second segment I'd like to talk
Hmm.
about is what kind of animated shows would you like to see
Hmm.
following some of the movies, or what would you like to
Hmm.
see for the future of Disney?
Yeah, so I think if they did something similar, like what DC does with their animated projects, they had the DC animated universe that ran. Actually, it's still active, but they
Mhm.
would take a certain comic book issue or run, and they'd give you an hour and 15, sometimes hour and a half long movie. And if they could do something like that with some of the Legends books, or even some of the comic book runs out there, and just give us 45 minutes for some of the shorter ones maybe, but almost like episode lengths, basically hour 15, hour and a half, they will range. I think that'd be really cool because uh, I would imagine it's pretty cheap to make compared to a lot of the live action stuff
Oh,
that they're
100%.
spending. And I honestly think it would be a much bigger hit for the fans.
Right.
And um, you could give us, I don't know, you could do couple of I don't know how quickly you could release them or get them, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the same voice actor for all the characters, but there's a lot of books and trilogies out there that I think they could do, and I think fans would love to see. And yeah, I would say just off the top of my head, that would be the first one that comes to mind.
Right. For me, and I know a lot of people talk about this, and how Luke Skywalker was changed in the sequels, and how he
Yeah.
was kind of like a whiny, grumpy old guy. Um, and a lot of people don't consider it canon. But
Hmm.
in Battlefront 2, I don't know if you ever played the campaign in there. Um, it's like a more calm Luke after Return of the Jedi. So he's helping out members from Inferno Squad.
Hmm.
And he's more. It's more of him from Mandalorian. I don't know if you
Hmm.
watched that thoroughly, but he's more
Hmm.
calm and he's at peace. He's not impatient.
Hmm.
Maybe an animated story about him even building the temple and teaching the younglings. Um, Even leading up to Kylo Ren and the
Hmm.
destruction of the temples. That would be pretty cool. Another thing that was brought up in a previous episode was that the sequels, there's a lot of area that has not been touched on. And we have a lot of things from the Clone Wars, a lot of things from the originals, the prequels, even Star Wars: The Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic. They kind of touch on that kind of area. It'd be kind of cool to get an animated style
Hmm.
show, maybe Tales of whatever it is,
Yeah.
talking about stories from the sequels, or maybe creating new
Hmm.
Jedi temples, or maybe something around that area would be really cool to see in animated.
Yeah, almost if they did like even if they did like between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. I don't know what the actual time jump is, but if they were like, here's 1 or 2 seasons of a show to cover gaps.
Oh, right.
Because I know Last Jedi picks up right where Force Awakens ends, so there's not much room there. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff because uh what was I going to say? Oh, I mean, I like the sequels. I there's definitely stuff I don't like, but I would say on an overall standpoint, there's a lot I like, and there's a lot of good story there that I think could help. Because like with the prequels, as good as those movies are, Clone Wars helped a lot. Not only a lot of people like them more, but a lot of people started to watch them more, and they became more
Mhm.
beloved. They could do that same thing with the sequels. Um, I think a lot more people would be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." A lot less continuity errors going on. Make it feel like there was more of a plan, an
Right.
outline.
Right.
Yeah.
And then another segment I'd like to bring up, the third segment. Do
Hmm.
you like the Tales collection? So Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Underworld, and do you think they should keep on going on and on? And when do you
Hmm.
think they should stop?
Hmm. Yeah, so I love Tales of the Jedi. That blew me away with how good it was because I was like 15-minute episodes. What it's like the episode's going to get just started and it's going to end,
Right.
and I was glad that I was wrong on that.
Hmm.
Um, Tales of the Empire. I thought the stuff with Barris was it Barris Offee, something like that.
Barris Offee and
Offee,
Morgan Elsbeth.
yeah. I thought it was fine. I liked the Barris stuff. It wasn't as good as Jedi for me, but I still enjoyed it. And Tales of the Underworld, I enjoyed. I enjoyed Bane's a little bit more than Asajj, which I know kind of
Yeah,
backtracks what I was saying earlier. But
I'm
I
on
don't
the
think they
same
did.
page.
I was gonna say with the stuff with Asajj, it was like felt very underwhelming, if that makes sense, because it was like this high of the story, and then it's like, oh, all right, it's done, and it's
No,
like,
exactly. I'm on the same page as you.
yeah.
Actually, I just made a video on this. My favorite or my top three favorite characters is actually Count Dooku, and it all comes from Tales of the Jedi, where you
Hmm.
get his backstory, Qui
Oh
Gon,
yeah,
the Mace Windu part, and how he
yeah.
knew that the Jedi were corrupt. I've
Hmm.
always been a big fan of Tales of the Jedi with Ahsoka. Also,
Yeah.
I didn't really Tales of the Empire didn't stick with me that much,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
then
it was like I said, it was fine, but it wasn't too
yeah,
good.
yeah,
It was fine.
it just didn't resonate with me, you know.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not a big fan of Barriss Offee or Morgan Elsbeth, so it didn't, you know,
Right, right. There
it
wasn't
didn't
that
touch me.
connection there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then yeah, you're right. Asajj Ventress' story was all right. Cad
Yeah.
Bane was really good. I liked how they gave him a backstory.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
I really felt myself like when his friend is caught and then like he leaves with the other guys that take him, I was like, "Oh, this is like serious." Like this. Um but as far as them doing more of those shows, I'm all for it because I mean, it's you're talking 6 episodes that are the 20 minutes long. Um I mean, let's see, they could do like Tales. Hey, we were talking about the sequels with animated stuff. They could do Tales of First Order or
Tales
something,
of the
or
Rebellion, Tales
Rebellion.
of the
Yeah,
Clones,
yeah. I mean,
Tales of. I mean, we've also gotten
yeah,
like you could do a story about Kix. Uh,
yeah,
oh, we were talking about Rex and how he was turned into Nick
yeah,
Sant. You could do
yeah,
a story about Rex and going into
yeah,
the. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
No, I think
No,
there's a lot of stories to touch on for sure.
oh yeah, and I mean, they don't seem to take that long to make, like I said. So
No,
they could
it's quick. They
honestly,
announce it instantly.
if they really wanted to, I think they could give us several of those series every year. They could do it like quarterly, like every three or
Oh,
four
definitely.
months, give us one, and
Right.
um, so yeah, that would be cool.
I mean, yeah, they're like what, 15 minutes each. There's 6
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah.
Yeah, you could easily do that. Yeah, and then the second to last segment I'd like to bring up,
Mhm,
um, we have Rebels and we have the Clone
mhm,
Wars, so we know there's different types of animation. Do you think
mhm,
that there's more room for different types of animation styles in Star Wars, or do you think they should stick to the Clone Wars or Rebels style?
mhm. So don't get me wrong, I love the Clone Wars animation, and that will always be my preference. But after watching Visions, and I know not all the episodes were great, and I not necessarily didn't like all the episodes, but what I liked about season 2 was it was a different animation style from a different animation studio for each episode, and I really liked that. And it shows that hey, you can have good stories here with different animation styles. So I'll always say Clone Wars style first if possible, but I have no problem if they say, hey, this episode did really well in Vision season 2 or 3. People like that animation style. Let's do a show on that. I'd be like,
Right.
hey, I'm all for that. That'd be awesome.
And they've
Yeah.
done it with Resistance too, which I just watched recently. It's all
Oof.
right. It's not that good. I didn't like it,
Yeah.
but they have done different styles.
And that's what is that 2D animation or it's
2D, yeah. I mean,
yeah. So I mean
it's
it's I
all filler realistically,
yeah, yeah.
but
So
there is definitely room for different kind of
oh yeah.
um, animation styles. Like you said, Vision's had what, like a bunch of different company or different
Mhm.
studios. They all came together, did their own things, own separate
Mhm.
episodes. I didn't really enjoy it because it was not like characters I knew or characters
Yeah.
I resonated with.
Mhm.
But I mean, it was definitely cool to watch for sure.
Mhm.
And then the last segment I'd like to talk about, the
Mhm.
plug part where you can talk about whatever you're doing.
Mhm.
Um, what would you like to tell the
Yeah.
people of YouTube?
So you can catch me mainly on the Feast of Fandoms YouTube channel. As of recording this episode, tomorrow night, for Cantina Happy Hour, we will be going live to discuss Clone Wars Season 1, Episode 9. That features a duel between Ahsoka and Ventress. I cannot remember the title name at the moment, but um, on Monday nights on the Feast of Fandoms YouTube channel for MCU Monday, we will go. We just finished up Ironheart, and we will be doing. Oh, okay. We're discussing doing Superman, and yes, we're a Marvel show, but we were like we're all going to see it. It's going to be a big hit. We're going to give people the MCU and DCU crossover that they all wanted, that they've all been rooting for. Um, Sunday night on the Game of Focus YouTube channel, we will be discussing Attack Force, which is a Steven Seagal movie, specifically his lowest rated movie on IMDb. That's how we picked it.
Okay.
So that's gonna be it's gonna be a watch. And of course, I'm always on the Sith Dominion YouTube channel. So yeah, a lot of
I'll
fun.
be on that episode next week too, by the way, on the Sith
Oh,
Dominion.
nice,
I
nice.
talked to him and I was like, hey, can I come on? Because I'm free for a whole week. So I'll
Yeah,
be on there
nice,
too. Yeah. All
nice.
right, guys. Thank you so much for watching the Spooky Cantina episode 6. We'll see you in the next one. Make sure you go check out Andrew in the bio. And I hope you have a great one. May the force be with you. And I'll see you next episode. Bye
See
bye.
ya.